Hope you have all started preparing for your upcoming exam. And in the previous session, we have started revising the portions that are included in the physics part for your exam, like force and laws of motion and chapter motion. Today also we'll be continuing to revise those same chapters, that is motion and force and laws of motion. But in today's session, you'll be getting to learn a new kind of question, that is assertion and reason type of question, which you will have in your board exams for class 10. So pay attention to what is told in today's video. See, look at the first question now. Newton's first law of motion can also be called as law of inertia, law of conservation of momentum, law of conservation of mass, law of conservation of energy. While learning the lesson itself, you have learned about inertia under this Newton's first law of motion. That means what? Inertia means tendency to resist change. That is, a moving object or an object at rest will not accept the change happening to it immediately unless and until an external force acts on it. We have seen examples like dusting a carpet, blades of a fan continuing its motion even after the power supply is cut off. Those examples we have seen. So this Newton's first law of motion can also be called as law of inertia. So option A is the answer for the first question. Next, passengers get a backward jerk when the bus starts suddenly. This can be given as an example of, again, we have done such type of examples during the teaching session of this chapter, that is force and laws of motion. When the bus starts suddenly, we get a backward jerk. That is also due to inertia, because when the bus was at rest, your body was also at rest. So when the bus begins to move, your body is not willing to accept the change happening to it. So it shows inertia. So this can also be given as an example of, yes, you're all correct. It's first law of motion. I've given 4 options here. First law of motion, second law of motion, third law of motion, law of conservation of momentum. So first law of motion is the answer for this question. See now, pay attention to this question. Newton's first law of motion says that a moving body should continue to move forever unless some external forces act on it. But a moving cycle comes to rest after some time if we stop pedaling it. Can you choose the correct reason for the stoppage of cycle? You have learned in first law of motion, an object in motion will continue its state of motion, an object at rest will continue its state of rest unless and until you apply an external force on it. But when you are riding a bicycle, it comes to rest once you stop pedaling it. So what could be the reason for the stoppage of cycle? Choose from the options given here. That is air resistance, gravitational pull of the earth, friction of the road, heat of the environment. So the answer should be air resistance and friction of the road. When you have done this chapter friction, when you were in class 8, you have learnt about the reason for this, right? Next question. According to second law of motion, momentum is a product of velocity and acceleration, acceleration and mass, speed and time, mass and velocity. Momentum, quantity of motion contained in an object. It is represented using the letter P, and the formula we use to represent momentum is P is equal to m into V. Therefore, momentum is the product of mass and velocity. Option D is the answer. Next, the SI unit of force is kilogram meter per second, or kilogram second per meter, kilogram meter per second square, or meter per second. Force is mass into acceleration. For mass you have kilogram, and for acceleration it is meter per second square. So the option should be option C, that is kilogram meter per second square. Next question. According to Newton's third law of motion, action and reaction forces act, and there are 4 options, on different bodies in the same direction, on the same body in one particular direction, on the same body only, on different bodies in opposite directions. See, recoiling of the gun, when you try to fire out the bullet from the gun. When you were doing such examples, you have already learned that action and reaction force acts on different bodies in opposite directions. So when you are trying to fire out a bullet from the gun, the action and reaction forces are seen from the bullet and by the recoiling of gun. So they are acting on two different bodies here. So according to Newton's third law of motion, action and reaction forces act on different bodies in opposite direction. While rowing a boat, that was given as an example. Every time when I talk about third law of motion, these examples are given. So try to recall them when you are answering such type of questions. Look at the next question now. Which among the following statement is correct? In an isolated system, the total momentum remains conserved. In an isolated system, the total momentum does not remain conserved. There are two statements given. You have to find out the correct statement. See, both can also be correct. So you have to look at the option and understand the question and then answer. In an isolated system, I'm talking about an isolated system. This was done in our regular teaching session. The total momentum remains conserved and total momentum does not remain conserved. When you're talking about an isolated system, the total momentum always remains conserved. So only the first statement is right. So you have to choose option A, that is only one, number one. The first statement is right. Look at the next question. When a force of 500 Newton is applied to an object of mass 1000 kg, its acceleration would be 5 meter per second square or 0.5 meter per second square or 0.15 meter per second square or 0.25 meter per second. See, force value is given, mass is given. You are going to find acceleration. You know the formula for force, F is equal to ma. Now I want A. So what will I do? I will move this mass to the other side. So in that case, it will come to the denominator of force. So when you substitute the values of force and mass, you get the answer as 0.5 meter per second square. That is your option B. Next question. Which of the following can sometimes be zero for a moving body? The same question was given in the previous session, but I'm giving it again. Look at the option. Average velocity, distance travel, average speed, displacement. So which can be sometimes be zero for a moving body? It is average velocity and displacement. Please note down the correct answer here. Next question. The second equation of motion gives what? Velocity acquired by a body in time t, distance traveled by a body in time t, velocity acquired by a body in traveling a distance, acceleration shown by a body. You all know the second equation of motion. What is that? S is equal to ut plus half at square. S is used to represent your distance. So what would be the option here? Second option, that is option B, distance traveled by a body in time t. Now, I told you before beginning the session, you will have to do a new type of question in your class 10, in your board exam, that is assertion and reasoning type of question. I'll explain you what it is first. Assertion means what? Something which you are firm about, something about which you are very sure, right? Reason means for that particular statement, whatever reason given is true or not, you have to see that. And the four options given here are both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation for the assertion. Assertion sentence, there won't be any change. Whatever is sure shot, only that will be given. Reason, whether it is relevant to the assertion given, that you have to find out. If it is going in hand with your assertion, according to your assertion statement, if reason is right, then you will choose the first option. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation for the assertion. Second option, both assertion and reason are true, but reason is the not correct explanation for the assertion. Assertion is true, but reason is false. Both assertion and reason are false. Okay. So now, what is the assertion? Something. Assertion means something about which you are very sure. That is what is called assertion. Here it's given as velocity time graph for a car moving with uniform acceleration is a straight line. Can you recall? Yes. Velocity time graph for a car moving with uniform acceleration is a straight line. What is uniform acceleration? Equal change in velocity in equal interval of time. When velocity changes equally in equal interval of time, obviously the velocity time graph for uniformly accelerated motion is going to be a straight line. So this is your assertion. Now reason given is moving car shows unequal change in velocity in equal interval of time. Just now I said, is this the reason for the given statement? It's talking about a velocity time graph for a uniform accelerated motion showing a straight line, right? So when it is showing a straight line, obviously the car is moving with uniform acceleration. It is covering means it is showing equal change in velocity in equal interval of time. Okay, so reason is given as moving car shows unequal change in velocity in equal interval of time. So this reason should be what? Wrong. So you see the options given, both assertion and reason are true, and R is the correct explanation for the assertion. Both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation for assertion. Assertion is true, but reason is false. Both assertion and reason are false. See, you have to check. Look at the assertion statement. You will come to a conclusion. Reason, whether it is giving proper explanation for your assertion. If not, you will choose assertion is true, reason is false. If the reason is the correct explanation for your assertion, in that case you will choose option A. Okay, understood? So your assertion is talking about uniform acceleration and your reason is talking about unequal change in velocity. So assertion is true, but reason is false. That is the answer for this. Option number C is the answer. See, as you repeatedly do, this type of questions is going to come for your exam. Please pay attention and practice such type of questions. Next question. Mass is the measure of inertia of an object. You all know this. Yes. Second, the reason given is greater the mass, greater is the force required to change the state of rest or of uniform motion. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation for the assertion. Both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation for the assertion. Assertion is true, but reason is false. Both assertion and reason are true. Mass is the measure of inertia of an object. That sentence is true. Greater the mass, greater is the force required to change the state of rest or of uniform motion. Yes. So the answer would be option A. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation for the assertion. Okay. Next question. A rocket works on the principle of conservation of linear momentum. Yes. That is your assertion. What did I talk about assertion? Something you're sure about. Yes, this is a true statement. A rocket works on the principle of conservation of linear momentum. For a system of two bodies, when there is a change in momentum of one body, the same change occurs in the momentum of the second body, but in the opposite direction. It's a very easy question. So the reason is also the correct explanation for the assertion given, right? So which option you will be choosing? You will be choosing either one among the four options given. What are the options given? Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation for the assertion. Both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation for the assertion. Assertion is true, but reason is false. Both assertion and reason are false. As I told you, what should be the answer for the given question? It should be option A. So both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation for the assertion. Okay. Now, next, see, you have to learn the definitions of all the things that are given under here, which are very, very important. So multiple choice questions you'll be getting in your paper. Identify the figure type of questions also you'll be getting. So in identify the type of given figure, you have to in physics chapters. So you may be getting a figure based on second law of motion or third law of motion or first law of motion also. Different types of graphical patterns, distance time graph, velocity time graph, like that. Okay. Then you have to type answers for 2 or 3 questions. Okay, so these definitions may all come under that category without giving options. So multiple choice questions will come with option, identify the figure will come with option, numericals, few numericals will come with option, few may not. Okay, in that case you have to solve and give the correct answer. Definitions, answer in short, those things you have to type the answer. Okay, so these things you learn: distance, displacement, acceleration, velocity, speed, uniform acceleration, non-uniform acceleration, uniform motion, non-uniform motion, momentum, inertia, balance force and unbalanced force, what is force, uniform circular motion, what is mass. You have to learn the definition for all the terms which are given here. These we have covered up many times during our periodic test revision also we have done, and while revising the chapter, both the chapters also we have done this. So these definitions you have to learn. Okay, in the next session I'll give you few questions on which you have to pay more attention in learning, and then we'll work out on few sums and few more assertion and reason type of questions we'll discuss. Okay, so you practice the questions which are given for revision. The similar type of questions you will get in your exams too. Okay, take care, study well, have a good day, bye.